Yesterday, July 6, 2026, a United States federal judge in San Francisco made a ruling that sent shockwaves through the financial world. U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer rejected Elon Musk's bid to void a jury verdict finding him liable for defrauding Twitter investors. The potential bill? Up to $2.6 billion. The cause? Two tweets posted in May 2022. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to April 2022. That month, Elon Musk agreed to acquire Twitter, the social media platform now known as X, for $44 billion. The deal valued Twitter at $54.20 per share. It was the largest social media acquisition in history. And for a few weeks, everything seemed straightforward. Then Musk's sentiment changed. On May 13, 2022, Musk posted a tweet that would eventually cost him billions. He wrote that his acquisition of Twitter was temporarily on hold, pending details about whether fake and spam accounts, known as bots, represented less than 5% of Twitter's total users. 4 days later, on May 17th, he posted again, this time suggesting the deal cannot move forward until Twitter's CEO proved the bot percentage was under 5%. The market reacted immediately. Twitter's share price crashed 18% over just 2 trading days. Thousands of investors, retail traders, pension funds, institutional holders, sold their shares at prices far below the $54.20 agreed acquisition price. They lost money they would never have lost if Musk had not posted those tweets. Those investors sued. The lawsuit, Pempina versus Musk, was filed in October 2022 in San Francisco federal court. The investors argued that Musk's tweets were false and misleading, that his stated concerns about bots were not genuine, but were instead a calculated strategy to pressure Twitter's board into lowering the acquisition price or allowing Musk to walk away from the $44 billion deal entirely. They claimed he was motivated in part by declining Tesla share prices, which would have required him to sell more Tesla shares than he had planned to fund a Twitter purchase. On March 20, 2026, after 4 days of deliberation, the jury returned its verdict. Musk was found liable for the May 13th and May 17th tweets. The jury determined those statements were materially false or misleading and caused real financial harm to Twitter shareholders who sold during that period. Attorneys for the plaintiffs said total damages could reach approximately $2.6 billion. Musk immediately moved to fight the verdict. His legal team filed motions to void the jury's finding entirely, arguing the verdict was flawed and that jurors were biased against him. One specific claim was that jurors had highlighted the figure $4.20 on the verdict form in bright blue, a reference to cannabis culture and a number Musk has frequently used in his public statements and business activities. Musk's team argued this proved the jury was mocking him and using the verdict to send a message rather than ruling on the evidence. Judge Breyer disagreed on every point. In his July 6 ruling, Breyer wrote that even if the speaker has a change of heart or a momentary regret about a transaction, such qualms do not justify lying to the investing public. He denied Musk's motion to void the verdict, he denied the motion to decertify the class of investors. And he granted the investors motion for prejudgment interest, meaning the total damages figure will be higher than the base $2.6 billion estimate. The judge did find in Musk's favor on one narrow point, determining that the May 17th tweet did not directly cause investors to lose money because there was insufficient evidence that it moved Twitter's share price independently. As a result, Musk was found not liable for that specific tweet. But the core verdict, that Musk defrauded Twitter investors through his May 13th statements, was upheld in full. Mark Malumphey, a lawyer for the investors, called it a very good day for investors in public markets, saying the jury had rejected Musk's effort to game the system. The case now moves toward the damages phase. Attorneys for the investors said it will be approximately 90 days before claims administration is set up, after which it will take additional months for the government to process claims and for investors to begin receiving compensation. But the Twitter lawsuit is not the only legal threat Musk faces from his 2022 acquisition. A separate lawsuit is pending in Manhattan federal court. That case claims Musk defrauded Twitter investors in a different way, by waiting too long to disclose his initial stake in the company. Under U.S. securities law, investors who accumulate more than 5% of a company's shares are required to disclose that ownership within 10 days. Musk allegedly delayed that disclosure, allowing him to continue buying Twitter shares at lower prices before the news became public and drove the price up. The Manhattan lawsuit argues that this delay allowed him to buy shares cheaply at the expense of investors who would have behaved differently had they known a buyer of Musk's scale was accumulating a major position. Two separate lawsuits. Two different theories of how Musk allegedly used information asymmetry to benefit himself at the expense of ordinary investors. It is worth placing the financial stakes in context. Even if Musk is required to pay the full $2.6 billion in the San Francisco case, plus interest, the impact on his personal wealth is limited. His current net worth sits at approximately $1 trillion following SpaceX's IPO in June 2026. A $2.6 billion payment would represent roughly 0.26% of his total wealth, the equivalent of a person worth $100,000 paying a $260 fine. But the legal and reputational implications extend far beyond the dollar amount. The ruling reinforces the legal risks associated with executive statements made during merger negotiations. Corporate lawyers across the United States are already citing the decision when advising clients on disclosure obligations and securities compliance. What a CEO says publicly about a deal, even informally on social media, can constitute securities fraud if a court determines those statements were materially false and caused investors to lose money. For Musk specifically, this verdict adds to a pattern. In 2018, his tweet claiming he had funding secured to take Tesla private at $420 per share prompted a civil fraud lawsuit from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which he eventually settled. Now, a second set of tweets has resulted in a jury verdict finding him liable for securities fraud on an even larger scale. The message from Judge Breyer's ruling is direct. The investing public has a right to truthful information from the people making decisions that affect the value of their holdings, and courts will hold even the world's richest person accountable when that right is violated. This video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Follow OAVault. We tell you what they don't.